Daytime TV in the UK is blighted by The Jeremy Kyle Show, where this circus ringmaster takes a net and combs the coastal states of Great Britain looking for thieves, idiots and scumbags. They are brought back to his studio and embarrassed in front of a live audience. And if you're anything like these trollops who need to find out who's shit in the fridge, Jeremy has the answer. His famous lie detector. How can this happen, I hear you saying? Well, the carnival barker gets paid a lot of money, the audience get a laugh, and the Manson family have a more hygienic way of sniffing out their culprit. But how accurate are these lie detector results? Well, let's find out. The polygraph, or the lie detector, was invented in 1921 by John Augustus Larson at the University of California in Berkeley. And when the lie detector is not being used to find out whether this skank has slept with this other skank's skanky fiancée, it's used in a more serious capacity. US law enforcement and federal government agencies such as the FBI, the NSA and the CIA, including the LAPD, often use the polygraph to interrogate suspects and screen new employees. Now, the science behind the lie detector is it will measure several physiological changes that are thought to occur when a person is being untruthful. Now, these are blood pressure, pulse, respiration and skin conductivity. In spite of 90% validity claims by the polygraph advocate, the National Research Council has found zero evidence of effectiveness. In fact, since the introduction of the device, the accuracy of the polygraph has always been contested. In 2003, the National Academy of Sciences found that the majority of polygraph research was unreliable, unscientific and biased, claiming that 57 of the approximately 80 research studies that the American Polygraph Association relies on to come to their conclusions were significantly flawed. One of the reasons that lie detector advocates are able to claim these 90% success rates could be that, specifically in criminal investigations, is that some earlier stage of the investigation has managed to land a suspect in the examiner's chair in the first place, meaning that some other evidence has pointed to this particular suspect, and that this evidence, combined with the failure of a lie detector test, would induce a confession in itself. Lie detectors can also measure other physiological differences caused by arousal, anxiety disorders, such as PTSD, nervousness, fear, confusion, hypoglycemia, psychosis, depression, substance-induced, such as nicotine or stimulants, or substance withdrawal, such as alcohol withdrawal, or any other emotions. Polygraphs do not measure lies. A polygraph cannot differentiate anxiety caused by dishonesty or anxiety caused by anything else. The polygraph is inherently subjective. It relies heavily on interpretation by the examiner, so human error and bias can result in the examiner drawing the wrong conclusion. There have been some spectacular cases of wrong conclusions over the years, and here are some of the most notable cases. Several spies have passed the polygraph test. These include Carl Kocher, who became an American citizen in 1971 and began work for the CIA as a translator, but was also one of Russia's best sources of information. There was also Ana Montes, who worked as a senior analyst for the Defense Intelligence Agency in the United States. She passed the polygraph test but was later arrested and subsequently charged with conspiracy to commit espionage for the government of Cuba. Then there was Leandro Aragonchillo, who was an American Filipino and a former US Marine Corps gunnery sergeant who was convicted of spying against the United States. He passed the polygraph test after leaking classified information to the regime of a former Filipino president. And then there's the most famous double agent of them all, Aldrich Ames, who was a 31-year CIA veteran who worked in counterintelligence. He passed 2 separate polygraph tests, in spite of compromising more CIA assets to any other foreign intelligence agency in history. When asked about his polygraph tests and how he passed them, Ames replied, "There's no special magic. Confidence is what does it. Confidence and a friendly relationship with the examiner. Rapport, where you smile and make him think that you like him. Showing that confidence will fool the machine and rapport will fool the examiner." There have been similar cases in criminal investigations. Take the case of the Green River killer. One suspect allegedly failed to give a lie detector test, whereas the actual culprit, Gary Ridgway, passed his. And then there's the case of Bill Wegerle, who failed 2 polygraph tests after being accused of murdering his wife Vicky. While never being charged with the crime, it was only until 2005 when Dennis Rader, otherwise known as the BTK serial killer, was convicted using DNA evidence, which just goes to show that should you pass a polygraph test, it means nothing, and should you fail a polygraph test, this also means nothing. So while the lie detector can be useful in some cases, its results can only be classed as slightly greater than chance, but nowhere near perfection.